Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing good today. Today's topic is what does it mean to give my life to Christ? What does it mean to hand my life over to God? So I'll get to that in a second. I say this in every video I do. Please pray for my back. Please pray for my back to heal. It's not so nice. I'm in a lot of pain in this video. If you see my muscles jumping, that's a TENS machine as it is right now. That's a TENS machine. Just this little machine I've showed you guys before. I mean, you can plug it into your computer or whatever device, you know, like a USB. You could have this working like a $40 TENS machine for 2 days on one charge, so it's pretty good. I can't explain the best when I'm like this, but I'll try. What does it mean to give my life fully to God? And when I say this, I don't mean half-heartedly, because remember what in Revelation, which I believe is to the Jews, but that doesn't matter. I just lost what I was saying. That this is my pain, man. Yes, I would wish you were either hot or cold, and for that reason I'll spit you out of my mouth. So you remember that to one of the churches, I forget which one it is, but you can't be. There is no neutral. I'm going to tell this in the way of my life, my experience. So when you hear my experience, don't say, well, it has to be this way or that way. It doesn't have to be. I always recommend people look up what it means to be born again. Go back and look what Jesus said to Nicodemus. You must. There is no other way for you to get to heaven but to be born again. There's no other way. What does that mean exactly? And I find it strange in my story that if you're watching my video for the first time, I have difficulty speaking. So when you hear me speak slowly, that's why. So being born again, for me it's kind of a mystery. I don't really understand. A quickening of the Spirit happened. I had been studying the Bible for probably about 2 years or so, up to the point where I was born again. You say, well, if you invested in God and you were reading the Bible and believed in God, weren't you born again? And maybe I was. But I was still engaging in some sinful activity. I'm not speaking about works, like I said. Don't focus on that. Focus just on my own story, my own experience. Because there's no other, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it was another way, because it was this way. So that thing was masturbation. That was the last thing I held on to. And there was another thing too. But that's probably too private. Yeah, masturbation isn't, but anyways. So there were two things. And there were things that I shouldn't have been doing. But we're all sinners, right? And would I be called a babe in Christ at that time? Maybe. Because of me not understanding some stuff. So as I said, I'll get to what it means. So I can't remember exactly how it happened, but all I remember is one day during the summer, I'm walking across the bridge by my place where I got assaulted. And so I'm walking through there, and I hear, I don't know, I think it was 3 guys, and they were saying the Lord's name in vain. And something had already begun to happen to me, but this is where I remember. People who are born again, I would have to argue from what I've heard, and what I would believe is that when you were born again, you know where you were. You could probably get dementia, and that would be the only thing you would remember. So I remember they were saying the Lord's name in vain, and to me it was like glass in my ears. We all say it. We've all probably said Jesus Christ derogatorily, which is really bad when you think about it. When you realize, especially after you're born again, you realize how much that hurts you too. I can feel the hurt because we're part of the body of Christ, right? He's the head, we're the body. I'm the toe. Yeah, I'm the toe. So it was right then that I noticed that, like, wow, I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. It was like I knew what sin was right there. Everyone knows what sin is, but can you look at sin in a certain way that a born-again Christian can? I could draw it out for you. I could make a diagram showing you the difference, but you may know sin in your mind, cognitively. Me, born again, when I became born again, I realized, like, wow, like, I realized what sin is. I could look and I could see in front of me, like, that's sin. This is what it does. It's like I could watch the destructiveness that it does. I could see it in a completely different light. You know, you go about your life, you sin in every which way. You don't understand that it can lead to death. Sin leads to death. The wages of sin is death. So if I decide to go use some drugs, I may go pay for a hooker after that. I'm just saying. And that may lead to death. So when I was born again, I could see and look back on those things, and look back on what I was doing, and understand that this is a description of born again. I don't want to sin. Like the book of John, I forget which John is. It's in his epistles. Those who are truly in God don't want to sin. They don't sin. What that means is, you say, like, how is that possible? We all fall short, and we do. That's not what that's saying. It's saying we don't have a want or need to do it. We still do mistakenly, but when we do that, we're like, when you're born again, you're immediately sorry. Sorry, God, I didn't mean to do that. And to someone who might laugh at that, you have no idea who God is. Just give me a second. And in being born again, day by day we are renewed. We want to become, the goal is to become more Christ-like. And I believe that you may not see it, like you may not see it in yourself, but other people can. And I do believe you get better day by day. Even if you're in this pain, or you're, something has happened here and something's happened there, doesn't matter what it is. So, and that brings me into this. So, only you know when God drew near to you, because however it happened. However it happened. Something happened that was magical. The most magical thing that could ever happen to you. More than any money, more than any car, any relationship, anything. Elon Musk taking you to Mars, anything. Beyond comprehension. And that's what it is beyond comprehension completely. You can't measure it. It's immeasurable. So giving my life to Christ, so considering all those things that you're born again and you're coming, you can, okay, listen, if you're not born again, like I said, please research what that means. You can still give your life over to Christ, of course you can. You can certainly try, and in that you'll find that it will work for the better of you. So what did I write down here? This time I did. These are just points, okay? These are just like in my life. I lost friends. And I'm not sure if I lost them because of this, but I sure lost friends. Sure, they knew that I'm like this, and probably knows that I make these videos. I don't know. They could be subscribed to me for all I know. I don't even care. But you could lose family members and friends, and I'm not one of those people who's going to tell you, because I don't believe it's true, because Scripture, look at Job, look what Job got back. You don't lose everything. You don't lose everything. You may in the beginning, but I believe that it will turn out for your good anyways. In my life, I kind of went off the deep end first, and then things are getting better. But to give my life over to Christ, so if all of a sudden I lose half of what I have, if someone dies and something goes so bad, I have to put my faith and trust in God towards that. So another example, my upper back, my mid back, and my lower back are completely torn. I'm in misery, man. With all my pain conditions, I'm not going to name them, but they're bad. When I wake up in the morning, I can tell you, man, like, I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to speak to anybody. I don't care about my pet, like, I can't get to my pet right away. I could if I really needed to. But sometimes it's so bad. I tolerate that, and I know that I have to put my faith that maybe God's going to heal that, or that I have to keep going. I don't judge people. We all judge. Like we all... To say that, how Jesus said, but I say to you, if you look at a woman with lust, you basically had sex with her already in your heart, right? We all judge. It's hard not to. Remember I told you about the native guy the other day? You look and you have automatic thoughts. But, those pass. And then what I'm saying is, don't judge people by the way they look, by their standing in society. You could be entertaining an angel, okay? I believe giving your life over to Christ, and I'm not saying we are saved by works, but I believe by turning our life over to Christ that we stop sinning. We don't want to sin. What is the draw of sinning? Should I make an example? Let's just say on my internet here, some really attractive, you look at some news story or something, and on the side there's this wicked blonde. Are you going to click on it? Are you going to start looking at her? Are you going to start lusting? Instead, turn it away. If it's getting so bad, turn the damn thing off. Right? I steer away from sin the best that I can. And anyone who's going to talk about works, you have no idea. I'm not talking and saying that saves you. I'm not saying that at all. I'm telling you that in my walk with Christ, that I do my best to stay away from those things. Why? Your life may not have been like mine, where I was, where I had sexual addictions, right? And so I have to stay away from that. To me, that's a sin leading to death. To you, you may have not gone through that, and you're saying it's works. I'm just staying clear of sin. Can I take a bite here? Just give me a sec. I'm stretching this a bit far, but in everything you do in front of people, so if you turn your life over to Christ, and someone asks you you say there's a big group of people, say there's 10 people, and they're all talking down about God. And you don't have to speak up. You don't have to say anything. In that situation, you don't have to do anything. You might want to, but not if it's your safety, right? But what I'm saying is, if they ask you, do you believe? What I'm saying is, don't deny him. Because if you deny Christ, he'll deny you before his Father. That's what the Bible says. That's what Jesus says. And I guess the last thing that I would say, and finish this, is that in every single thing that you do, okay, actually I'm going to explain this. People in some of my other videos throughout, I don't know, a long period of time has asked me, how am I able to do this? How am I able to do that? Where other people are really struggling. And I already know what the answer is. So, obviously I talk, not on here, I don't talk a lot about pain. I don't go in depth. I just tell you that I have pain, really. But in my other one, I go in depth, I talk about what it's like. People ask me, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you deal with that many things at once? What do you do to get through, besides your medication? And I say faith in Jesus Christ. If you don't read the Bible, and if you're not willing to understand, you won't understand. These people are blind, right? I'm not looking down on anyone. This is just the truth. They're blind to the truth. They don't understand that. Anyways, I'll get to the point. You have to put your full trust in God. Turning my life over to Christ, you have to put your full faith in God through every situation that there is. And I'll actually finish off this way. It was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I like talking to God when I go to bed. Because, when I lie back in my bed, usually, for the most part, it feels pretty good. When at the end of the night, right, when I'm going to go to bed. So it takes me maybe half an hour to an hour to go to bed. And I talk to God, and now I lost what I was going to say. And no, I didn't. About I would say maybe 3.5 years ago, the way that I sounded with talking to God was I was literally saying to him, I have some hope. I feel some hope. Every single night I would do an inventory with God, how my day went. And at the very end, I say, I don't know if I have faith, because my pain was so bad and so out of control. And I didn't have all my diagnosis, which made a lot of things worse. And with the disorders that I suffer with, it's not uncommon for people to go to assisted death. It's not uncommon for one of them. The one that makes me go back and forth like this. And that's where I was. I wanted to go there. And so at the end of the night, it was just slowly, little by little. You know, God was there. God was listening to me. And it took a long time for me to build up and say, you know, as things started to get better day by day, it was more like month by month. When things started to go my way and started to get it better and stuff, and I started to see a clearer picture of things, that talk started to change. And I guess God drew very near to me. And I mean, my pain is not that much better, but the things I do a lot of things for it to try to keep myself better. And you know, like sleep is a painkiller. I'm sure you know that. The painkiller that I take itself is a painkiller. But this is how I'm going to finish off. God is my painkiller. And I never knew it would ever be like that. I always wanted to give up because my pain was just so overwhelming, like it is right here on camera. So there it is, guys. So I just turned my life over to Christ, because my life was quite unmanageable. Even though I was trying to do all the right things, it was very unmanageable without God's fully trusting in God and Him having me. So, thanks for watching, guys.